What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Thursday, October 3rd, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 15:24 Eastern Time here in the United States, and I wanted to update you guys on the situation in the Middle East. It looks like we are on the verge of World War III, with Israel and Iran about to go to war. But before I get into all of that, we have another solar flare that just erupted from the sun a couple of hours ago, earlier this morning. An X 9.0 class solar flare erupted, which could cause low latitude auroras, could cause communications interruptions, and even power grid interruptions, power grid failures. This is the second X-class flare in the last 48 hours. We had an X 7.1 2 days ago, and now we have an X 9.0. So our power grid and our communications are going to be affected. This is very, very serious, guys, to have two X-class flares back to back, both of them Earth-facing. This is going to have effects on planet Earth, okay? So get prepared. Make sure you have some Mylar bags. You can put your electronics in the Mylar bags to prevent any kind of damage to them. You can also put your electronics in your microwave, believe it or not. Just don't turn the microwave on. But if you're not using your microwave, you can put everything in there and just close the microwave. Just make sure you put some tape across the microwave so nobody accidentally uses it and your devices get blown up. Another thing you can do is put your stuff inside of metal garbage cans and line that with some aluminum foil. Want to update you guys on the situation with Russia and Israel. So last night, Israel struck a Russian airbase in Syria. That's right. Israel launched an airstrike on a Russian airbase in Syria, and apparently Israel targeted a weapons depot that was on the Russian airbase or near the Russian airbase. So we don't know a lot of the details yet, but there has been geolocated footage showing that this strike was actually on the Russian airbase, okay, on the weapons depot at the Russian airbase, and Israel was saying that there was a weapons depot that was being used to supply weapons to Hezbollah. So want to update you on that. So the Russian ambassador to Israel is now calling on Russian citizens to leave Israel immediately. Here we have video footage of that Israeli strike on the Russian base here. It was the Khmeimim base in Syria. You can see all of the ammunition and weapons cooking off after the strike. So this is very, very serious, guys, okay? What I think happened here is that Israel was showing Russia, hey, we're not afraid of you, and we know that you're helping Iran, we know that you're helping Hezbollah, and we're not afraid to reach out and touch you if necessary. I think that's what Israel was trying to do here. You can see all of the ammunition and weapons cooking off over here. But the mainstream media is not going to report this to you guys. They don't want you to know about it because if the world found out, people would panic, the stock market would crash, oil prices would go up, so everything is kept secret, okay? But this has been geolocated by various experts, and this did happen on the Russian airbase or somewhere within the airbase, okay? So this is extremely serious, but the Russian ambassador to Israel is now calling on Russian citizens to leave Israel immediately. Also, update on Israel and Iran. So today, Biden was asked if he would support striking oil facilities in Iran with Israel, and Biden responded by saying, "We have been discussing that." Wow. Okay, so apparently the U.S. and Israel are planning to strike Iranian oil facilities together, according to Biden. Now, we don't know if Biden was just saying that to throw off the Iranians, because it would be really stupid for him to just plain say that and telegraph what they're going to do. But the Financial Times is now reporting that oil prices have risen to the highest level in a month after Biden's statement on the Israeli response to Iran. Okay, we've seen the video footage of people in Iran panicking and filling up their vehicles because they're afraid that Israel's going to strike their oil facilities. Now, remember, Iran has already told the U.S. and various countries that if Israel strikes their oil facilities, then they're going to strike all of the oil facilities in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, all the different oil fields in the Middle East outside of Iran. Iran is going to strike them in retaliation. Also, Iran threatened a massive attack on Israel if Israel responded to this attack by Iran, the second attack by Iran. Okay, so this could escalate. Iran also threatened to destroy vast amounts of Israel's infrastructure. Okay, so this could really get crazy, guys. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a discount on their 1-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. This is a 1-month freeze-dried food supply. It has a 25-year shelf life. Normal price is $237. They've dropped it down to $177. So that's a savings of $60. And it's all packed within 2 rugged, water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. $177 for 1 month of food. Where are you going to find a deal like that? So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $60 off the My Patriot Supply 1-month emergency food supply. That's $180 for 1 month of food. Free shipping included. The link is in the description below this video. This could really get crazy, and in my opinion, what's going to happen here is I think Israel is going to launch a strike on Iran in the coming hours or in the coming days. Israel already said it's going to be a harsh response and it's going to be soon, okay? Netanyahu said Iran is going to pay a big price, okay? They might stop short of hitting the nuclear facilities, but what they're going to do is they're going to hit all different kinds of military targets. The U.S. might be involved in that in a clandestine way. They're not going to say that they're involved, okay? But we may have B-52s, B-1s, or B-2s that are going to be launching missiles and dropping bombs on Iran, and we're just not going to disclose that. We're going to say that it was all Israel, okay? But a couple of days ago, okay, right after Iran struck Israel, which was the largest missile attack on Israel in history, guys. Let that sink in, okay? What happened earlier this week was the largest ballistic missile attack on Israel in history, okay? If that's not a sign that we're in the end times, I don't know what is, okay? So get right with God. But right after that strike on Israel, we had several aerial refuelers that are affiliated with the B-2 stealth bomber wing in Whiteman Air Base land in Kansas. There were 4 of them that landed in Kansas, okay? So it's very possible that we may use stealth bombers with various types of heavy ordnance to destroy a lot of the targets in Iran, because remember, Iran is a mountainous country. The whole country is mountains, okay? It's like the Rocky Mountains, all right? It's just a drier version of the Rocky Mountains. Very, very steep topography, a lot of caves, a lot of places to hide things. So Israel is going to need the U.S. with our bombers that can carry heavy ordnance to penetrate and destroy a lot of these buried bunkers and missile storage facilities. I've showed you guys these facilities on live streams months ago. Okay, they have hundreds and hundreds of caves and tunnels under these mountains that are several thousand feet high. Okay, at the base of these mountains, they have tunnels, and inside they have their warheads, they have their missiles, okay, and just conventional cruise missiles are just not powerful enough to destroy those kinds of bunkers. You need either tactical nuclear weapons, low yield nuclear weapons with penetrating warheads, or you need a very large conventional penetrating bunker buster, similar to what Israel used to take out Nasrallah. But the U.S. has what's known as the Massive Ordnance Penetrator, or MOP. It's a 30,000-pound bomb, and it can penetrate like 30 feet of concrete, and it's actually guided too, and they can drop that thing from a B-2, and nobody would even know that it was the U.S., okay, because the B-2s are completely invisible to radar. So we have to keep an eye on this. This could really escalate. If Israel retaliates back, then Iran is going to retaliate even stronger. And then at that point, Israel is just going to wipe out all of Iran's nuclear facilities and even try to take out their government, take out the Ayatollah. And then the U.S. would have to get involved for sure. So this is where it could all be going, guys. But Israel has already said they will respond. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when and how. Okay, so make sure you guys are getting prepared, because when Israel responds back, there's going to be massive escalation. And this afternoon, we have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert. Again, we have 2 nuclear war command and control planes up in the air. We also have a B-52 nuclear bomber airborne over Louisiana, and we have a nuke sniffer airborne over Kansas. And interestingly, we also have some sub-hunting activity going on off the coast of Florida this afternoon. Here you can see a P-8 Poseidon sub-hunter that was patrolling this area off the coast of Orlando, but then it went down all the way to the Florida Keys, and now it's flying super low near the Florida Keys, which is very, very unusual. So they're probably keeping an eye on Russian subs coming out of Cuba. And also we have this reconnaissance drone here patrolling the coast of northern Florida. So lots of sub hunting going on. And we have this picture here that was released showing the damage from the Iranian ballistic missile attack on one of the Israeli air bases. And if you look closely here, you can see some craters. You can see one crater here, one crater there, and some kind of building was hit. We don't know what's in this building or what was in this building, but you can see the building was hit directly. Okay, massive destruction to that building. And then another crater up here, but it looks like largely these ballistic missile warheads missed their targets. They have very poor accuracy, it seems like. So that's a good sign. Looks like prayers were answered. I know a lot of people have been praying for Israel. I have been praying for Israel every single night. Keep Israel in your prayers, guys. They are under unprecedented attack right now from all sides. Everybody's against Israel, even Biden, even Europe, Russia, Iran, Turkey, everybody, okay? Everybody's against Israel, so please keep them in your prayers. And the Financial Times is reporting that the U.S. and G7 countries oppose potential Israeli attacks on Iranian nuclear facilities. And a senior Iranian official told Al Jazeera, "We sent a message to the U.S. through Qatar that any Israeli attack would be met with an unconventional response that would also include infrastructure. The phase of unilateral restraint is over. There is a regional need to restrain Israel and its madness." So unconventional response, what could that mean? Are they going to use EMPs? Are they going to do a cyber attack? Are they going to use some other kind of attack that Israel would not be prepared for, rather than just ballistic missiles? Here we have one of the Iranian ballistic missiles that crashed in the desert in Israel, and apparently this missile has such poor accuracy that the circular error of probability is about a half a mile, okay? So if you're aiming this missile at a target, the chances of it hitting that target is pretty low because it has a circular error probability of half a mile, okay? So it can hit anywhere within a half a mile radius of where you put the coordinates in, okay? So that's terrible accuracy. That's why a lot of these Iranian missiles did not hit their targets. So thank God for that. And British Airways has extended their suspension of flights to Tel Aviv until the end of October. And the U.S. has deployed troops to Cyprus in preparation for potential emergency situations amid rising tensions in the Middle East. U.S. officials say this move is a precautionary measure allowing for rapid response should a wider conflict emerge in the region. And Russia has evacuated 60 citizens from Lebanon on a special flight that left Beirut with the family members of Russian diplomats. Emergencies Minister Alexander Kurenkov said the evacuation is carried out on the instructions of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Okay, so Putin ordering the evacuation of Russian diplomats from Lebanon, and today Russia is calling on its citizens to leave Israel immediately. And at a meeting in Doha, representatives of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, and Kuwait assured Iran of the Gulf states' absolute neutrality in the ongoing conflict and that they will not allow the U.S. to use their air bases against Iran. And Israeli forces discovered that Russian weapons are in service with the Hezbollah terror organization. And the president of Iran sent a message to the United States via Qatar. Iran has abandoned its strategic patience and one-sided self-restraint and will respond harshly to any Israeli retaliation. Wow, okay, Iranian president telling the U.S. that Iran will respond harshly, okay? So this is very, very serious. And Israel says that they struck a Hezbollah intelligence headquarters in Beirut today, and according to the IDF, 200 Hezbollah rockets and several drones were launched from Lebanon into northern Israel today. And Lebanon News is reporting that Lebanon witnessed today the largest evacuation of foreigners, and the most prominent countries that evacuated their citizens are the U.S., Canada, Spain, Romania, Greece, Russia, Italy, and Nigeria. Also, Poland evacuated their citizens a few days ago. And for the first time since the war began, the Lebanese army responded to Israeli fire after a Lebanese soldier was killed in an Israeli strike on an army center in Bit Jabil, southern Lebanon. The Lebanese armed forces confirmed they retaliated against the source of the Israeli attack, marking a major escalation. So wow, so now Lebanon and Israel going at it. And Lebanon's health minister is claiming that nearly 2,000 Lebanese people have been killed since Israel began their strikes on Hezbollah. Seems a bit inflated to me. And the Swedish government held a press conference earlier today and confirmed that there are aspects that point to Iranian involvement in Tuesday's shooting attack against the Israeli embassy in Stockholm and yesterday's hand grenade attacks against the Israeli embassy in Copenhagen. And the Islamic Resistance in Iraq, a group of militias backed by Iran in Iraq, claimed they launched a new type of drone that penetrated southern Israel. Earlier, the IDF acknowledged that a drone was shot down in southern Israel. So these Iranian militias launched a drone through Egypt, is what I'm hearing. The drone flew over Egypt and through the southern border of Israel from a different direction than Israel normally expects them to come, which is from like the Jordan direction or Syria. And former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson claims a listening device was discovered in his bathroom when Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu used his personal toilet in 2017. So wow, this is crazy. So Netanyahu planted a listening device in Boris Johnson's bathroom. That's crazy. And the Houthis claim to have attacked a British oil tanker, the Cordelia Moon, with an unmanned naval drone. And Ukrainian forces reportedly destroyed an S-400 air defense system of the Russian forces in the Kursk region of Russia. So Ukraine destroying an S-400 system in Kursk. That's obviously going to piss off Putin. And the Patriot battery that was supposed to be transferred by Romania to Ukraine has already been delivered to Ukraine. Russian media is reporting that there was an attempted attack on the Kursk nuclear power plant. Allegedly, 4 missiles were fired by Ukraine at the nuclear power plant in Russia. Ukraine denies the Russian claims about the attempted attack. And Zelensky called for jointly intercepting Russian missiles and drones during talks with NATO's new Secretary General Mark Rutte. And there's a major disruption to internet connectivity in the Sumy region of Ukraine. Sumy is right across from Kursk. It's opposite of the Kursk region of Russia. And apparently Russia has been shelling Sumy a lot in the last 48 hours. And the Russian Federal Security Service, the FSB, formerly known as the KGB, detained several individuals identified as Ukrainian military intelligence officers attempting to enter Russia from Lithuania. That's what Russia is claiming, okay? So they're claiming that Ukrainian military intelligence officers were trying to sneak into Russia from Lithuania. And Russia and China celebrated 75 years of diplomatic relations yesterday. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov highlighted that a high level of mutual trust between Russia and China enables robust collaboration in military fields, including joint military exercises, air and sea patrols, and coordinated activities along their shared border. The Russian and Chinese economies continue to grow dynamically, and California is reporting their first human case of the H5N1 at a dairy facility. Apparently, there was a worker at a Central Valley dairy facility experiencing an outbreak of bird flu among dairy cattle. The individual experienced mild symptoms, reporting only conjunctivitis. Once the local health department was notified, their public health laboratory tested the individual for H5N1, and the California Department of Public Health was notified of a presumptive positive test. Okay, so the bird flu is spreading. We had 2 sub-hunters moved to the Mediterranean late last night. They took off from Jacksonville, which is their home base, and they made a quick stop in the Azores, and then they continued on into the Mediterranean. So this is a sign that the U.S. is preparing for something to go down in the Middle East if they're moving sub-hunters to the Mediterranean. And we had a massive amount of reconnaissance in Eastern Europe last night. We had an RC-135 combat Sentinel plane patrolling the coast of Kaliningrad in the Baltic Sea near Poland and Lithuania here. These RC-135 combat Sentinels are high-priority reconnaissance planes used to give intelligence information directly to the U.S. president. So if one of these is airborne, it means something very serious is going on, and these planes have been flying here a lot in the last couple of weeks off the coast of Kaliningrad. Also, we had another Italian reconnaissance plane patrolling the border of the Baltics and Russia. This Italian reconnaissance plane has really been focusing a lot of its efforts on the border of Lithuania and Belarus in particular. You can see how it was making dozens of loops here near Vilnius. Okay, the capital of Lithuania is literally only like 20 miles from the border of Belarus, okay, and there's no NATO forces in between Vilnius and Belarus to stop an invasion force from coming in and taking the capital. And we know that Lukashenko, the president of Belarus, has already ordered his military on full combat alert. Okay, so something is brewing here to have these combat sentinels, high-priority reconnaissance planes, all these Italian reconnaissance planes. We also had another U.S. reconnaissance plane go up into Finland. It went all the way up to the Finnish Arctic and then came back down. So lots of stuff going on. And then here we had another reconnaissance plane flying off the coast of Crimea. This is a British RC-135 reconnaissance plane flying parallel to the western shore of Crimea, probably picking up targets for Ukraine to strike. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back later on with more breaking news, but just make sure you guys are getting prepared. We got those back-to-back solar flares, Earth-facing. We have Russia calling on its citizens to leave Israel after Israel struck a Russian airbase in Syria. Biden saying today that they have been discussing with Israel striking oil facilities. So get prepared. This strike could come any night now, any day. I do have my 24/7 live stream ongoing. I have a radio with a 400-foot antenna in my backyard so I can listen to all of the strategic forces worldwide. So I have that piped into the live stream. You can hear that. And I set that up free of charge for you guys so we can have a reliable way of listening to the nuclear forces here in the U.S. and get any indications of something going down. But if anything serious does happen, I will go live as I always do. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.